Oh, say hi, Rosie. Yeah, say hi to the camera. Yeah, Rosie and I are just sitting here on a cold frigid day in front of Kitchen Stuff Plus and waiting for my wife to buy some Kitchen Stuff Plus. In the meantime, I wanted to make a video about keeping an organized stage, and I have several things I've used over the years to keep my stage as organized and streamlined as possible. I'm just going to go right into it. So the first thing would be to have a stage plot. I prefer to have a paper stage plot, and I'll show you my blank stage plots, and there's going to be a download below the video. So if you need a paper stage plot, you can print out the PDF. But basically, it's just a blank generic stage plot that I use at the club level. If you're going to mix festivals and stuff like that, larger festivals are most likely going to have stage plots because the bands are going to supply them and send them in ahead of time. But this isn't always the case. I have done festivals in Toronto where there have been no stage plots or arriving last minute. So I have one just in case, and maybe I'll print out 10, 15 copies on paper. The reason I use paper is because paper doesn't require batteries. So I'm always going to have the piece of paper and a pen, and I just go up to the band on stage and say, well, if you haven't got a stage plot, I'll just need to write down what instruments are what on this piece of paper and what inputs I'm using, and so basically whatever gear you have on stage and what inputs that I prefer to use. And so here, there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can approach it from a stage manager's point of view or a sound person's point of view. I mean, it's a blank slate. The circles equal microphones, the squares equal DI boxes, right? So that's one thing. Stage plot, input list, they're both the same thing in this case. Next thing is I will make an itinerary if maybe I have 5 or 6 bands on one night and they don't have an itinerary or schedule. I will make one for them, and I'll make it as reasonable as possible so that all acts get to play and there's no misunderstandings. Or I have been in the past where there would be like 12 bands on an all-night bill from 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. or 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. with like complete lack of organization. Stage manager or the booking person or whoever's doing the front door isn't paying attention, and one of the first or second bands goes on late, then everybody else goes on late. So to keep things organized, I would make a itinerary for the acts, making a 15-minute changeover and asking the bands to share backline like drums and cabinets wherever possible, especially drums. Maybe guitar players want to play through their own, which is understandable, but bass players very often can play through another bass amp and it'll sound great. So that's one thing. So schedules or itineraries. Next is microphones. I'll put my I'll mark my microphone cables with white pieces of tape so I can see them from the mixing position. And if a singer decides to grab the middle microphone but they're on stage right or left, I can quickly look up and know what microphone they're using simply because I put 1 stripe, 2 stripes, and 3 stripes. And then maybe the drummer is in the back and they have no stripes. So taping my cables, writing down on the actual cables on stage when I put them into a DI. I mark the DI, whatever it is, acoustic guitar, so I'll put like ACG, but I'll also write down right with a Sharpie, right on the piece of metal of the connector for the cable, what track or what channel number it's going into. So if acoustic guitar is going in 10, I'll write 10 right on the metal and then plug into the DI. And also label the DI, because sometimes during live shows things are very fast paced, they get crazy, and you might unplug something without realizing you unplugged the wrong DI. In this case, you just go, oh, that's like I did this once where I didn't write on the cables, I only wrote on the DIs, and there was so much confusion on stage, like so many pieces of gear, you couldn't take a cable out because all the things were on the cables. And I unplugged a DI accidentally to troubleshoot, and it turns out that I didn't know which one it went back in because it was dark, and I went, oh no, which cable? There's 3 cables here. So I started writing right on the piece of metal, as well as on the DI box, like I said. So those are some of the things I would do to keep a stage running smoothly and organized. Anyways, here's my wife. I'm going to finish this video a little later, and I'll have some downloads. Okay, well, come on, dog. Here we go. She's here. She's coming in. Whoa, I could better let her in. Okay.